Sean,
That's
pick up,
what I
pick up,
was on.
pick up your mic, Sean.
That's what I was on.
Ladies and gentlemen, we officially have had our first old head guest on the podcast.
This is a Chucky
Yo,
Beat
I'm
production.
telling you, man, that's what I was on. And when I said it, they had no idea who I was talking about. Not a clue.
However, he's not a whack ass old head like some of you other guys.
I agree. He an old head, but he ain't whack.
And here we are. This is the But Peep This podcast.
Yo.
We got a packed show for y'all today. We typically meet the day before to kind of talk about a little bit of what we're going to talk about, meet with our guests, kind of run them through everything. Obviously, our guest, DJEs, will give his introduction momentarily. But man, when we sat down and talked yesterday, that was a lot. So I hope y'all are ready.
So first of all, Sean, without your glasses, you look like Rob Deerdeck. All right. Anyway,
do we have time to tell what happened with my glasses?
No.
Okay. We'll do it later.
We don't care. You look like Rob Deerdeck.
Especially with the Vans hat today. So shout out Vans.
Our guest today is a friend of mine. It's a friend of Sean's. He's a sports buddy. If any of y'all follow him on Facebook, he is a very smart dude. And most of all, he is from the 53rd county in the state of Alabama. All right. Yeah, and what did I say it was called, Sean? Say it with me. 53 PC.
Yeah, sure.
Say it with me again, Sean. 53 PC.
53 PC. That's
53 PC.
53 PC.
One more time. 53 PC.
53 PC.
Y'all gonna get a lot of that. Okay. So, Mr. Ease, you got something you want to say to the people, man? Let them know who you are. Let them know where to find you.
I don't have a whole lot, but yeah, the JEs these days. The only reason why it's like that is not anything pretentious. It's just growth that I've had in myself from being a person before music, being a person doing music, and when music started going to downhill, those two merging, and we got this. So the experience people get from me going forward is just that, an experience. And I'm only a reflection of what you see in yourself. You can find me really easily right now because nothing has really started to grow just yet. That will be soon, but you can find me really easy on Facebook. Just put in the JEs. You'll find me. I'm the one with these on.
Did Third Eye by Big Crit just pop into your head? Because it just popped into mine.
I'm not going to get into Third Eye stuff today. I feel like it's a little too early for me on this podcast. Maybe one day. Maybe the next time we bring on Jay.
The way I look at it is really simple. It's not on the super deep, super woke Hotep stuff. No, I think we all have one. We acknowledge it in the way that we choose to, and when we choose to, and when we get to it. I don't get as deep as telling people they shouldn't be eating corn or something.
Yeah. So. I'll get into it a little bit. I began a lot of my like third eye discovery when I was in college. I used to not really be able to like turn it off. But with time, I've learned how to like turn it off and on. But I will always get signs from somewhere, and I'll be somewhere and I'll be sitting around. I'm like, I have a feeling I'm gonna need this today. And then like 10 seconds later, it's like, hey, do you do this? And I'm like, oh, jeez, here we go. But I relate to that. I'll leave it at that for this one, but we here.
Sean, pick up your mic real quick. Before I give my dad joke, pick up your mic real quick. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to give you this disclaimer. We don't bring scrubs on here to discuss stuff with. While Mr. The JEs is humble, we are not. Watch your mouth. Because I've seen JEs block somebody with the utmost respect, and all I can say was thank you afterwards. Okay. It's a pleasure, sir. Now, may I, offer a rebuttal? How would you like to be blocked, sir? And I bid you good evening. And I was like, damn, that was cold.
That's incredible. It's absolutely
With
incredible.
all the grace in the world. Like, y'all see he's smiling now. Please don't come for him. All right. Like, I can't help you.
Yeah.
We at the But Peep This podcast, no representation is made by Quality of Legal Services Perform.
Okay. I love it.
All right.
Love it.
All right. So, Brooklyn got swept.
No, wait, we're not gonna do a joke. We're just jumping straight into it.
That was a joke, but here's the joke. So Sean, what generation was Forrest Gump a part of?
What's that?
Gen A. Gen A.
Jedi.
Jedi. Now,
Oh shit.
my second
That's
joke.
good.
I appreciate that one.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I see what you did there.
So, Brooklyn got swept. Raise your hand if you saw this coming.
All right, okay. Let's just get it over with.
No, Sean, I need to hear it, Sean.
One thing that you all will learn on this podcast, we don't like to admit when we're wrong. That's just not really something that we're about. And I'm saying we as in Lionel and I, because Lionel's sitting here nodding his head right now, but give it time. You'll see the same thing you'll get out of me. Now, I've learned over time to admit when I'm wrong, right? It's still not easy, but
save the speech. Just say the words and let's move on.
So I was dead wrong. I was dead wrong. Like, I, in no way, shape, or form, thought that KD would get swept by a Boston team that, if I'm being honest, has the same type of mentality and philosophy as those early 2000 Spurs. It's not a one-person game. Like, Jason Tatum is Jason Tatum, just like Tim Duncan was Tim Duncan. But it's more than that. So I'm going to be honest with you. Off the top of my head, not really a ton of people jumping up to my head. But when I've been talking to people about it, it's been kind of the same thing, is that the Celtics team beat Kyrie and KD. Like, the Celtics team beat them. Also, we need to have a greater conversation about where Jason Tatum falls when it comes to the top 10 players in this league category, if not top 5. Now, we'll see how he continues to do moving forward. The Celtics got a nice little rest right now. So, that's very positive for them. But yeah, I was dead wrong. Dead wrong. Absolutely dead wrong.
Music to my music to my ears.
Just wait.
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh yeah. Just for the record, I say I would put, like, in the current ranking of NBA players today, I would put him probably, I don't know, 7.
I agree with that. I don't know about top 5 yet.
I still got
KD above him. I feel like that's fair.
Right.
I don't think anybody, even after this series, would go, yeah, KD's still not, is no longer a top 5 player because of Jason Tatum.
Oh, yeah.
But I probably had KD like top 2 prior to this series.
So
dropping him a little bit.
Let me ask you something, Sean.
Dropping him a little bit.
You still got Milwaukee winning the whole thing?
Yeah. Middleton will come back. Chris Middleton is very important to that team, and I think people are seeing it now. He'll come back. They'll be fine. It won't be a problem.
J.E., do you agree with that?
I want to put a pin in a question that I'm going to ask in a minute, because I do have a point on Brooklyn. But I'm going to say it out loud. The pin and the question is, what about the Heat? Just let that sit there. But with Brooklyn, I think Sean's point is really important in that the team beat. I don't even think the team beat Brooklyn. I think the team beat Kevin Durant
Correct.
because
Absolutely.
what you would see a lot of times when Durant get the ball, they were if they didn't have two or three people rolling around to him and not just getting in front of him, but actually reaching like 90s reaching for the ball, he would start to expect that to happen. But when it wouldn't happen, he would just be one on one with Jason Tatum. And we seen Jason Tatum block his shot, what, 3 or 4 times in that
Lock him
series?
down.
Which is a wild thing to me
It
because
is
when KD first came in, everybody was like, "Oh, that's an unblockable shot," and here comes
that
this
was the
kid,
thing. That was the thing.
6'9".
That
Like
was the thing.
what?
We haven't even seen LeBron block KD's shot.
I don't think so.
So to see somebody like Jason Tatum and who we all see as young and who's fairly still young block Kevin Durant more than once,
Yeah,
more than twice.
yeah.
I mean, is uh, the way Boston's defense was coached. It really felt like if Kyrie is gonna beat us, I feel like we will let Kyrie beat us. I know we can trust the rest of the team not beating us, but we have to find a way to maybe not stop Durant, but make him as uncomfortable as possible. And that's what they did. Everybody on the court, when Durant was on the court, came around to him at some part of him getting the ball. And yeah, it left him oddly disoriented. And the reason why I say oddly is because KD, up until this point, I felt like he's seen it all. So I don't know. I guess he never seen somebody blocking his shot. So
I've never seen it. I have not seen it at all.
yeah.
So I don't agree with Sean saying that Milwaukee will win it all
Okay.
because I feel like Milwaukee has the same problem that Brooklyn has. If you neutralize Giannis, who you gonna rely on?
Mm.
And if you try to sit here and tell me that Milwaukee can win a ship without Giannis, you are full of shit. Look me in my eyes and tell me that.
The problem with Brooklyn wasn't that they relied too much on KD and Kyrie. The problem with Brooklyn was that they only played 22 games together. And in those 22 games, they only won half. The problem with Brooklyn is that they had a coach who's never been a coach before. The problem with Brooklyn is you have two of the most selfish players in the NBA. And I'm gonna throw KD in there. I'm gonna throw him in there. You got two of the most selfish players in the NBA sitting there getting on a podcast talking about, oh, we don't need a coach. We call him Steve. He's a guy that, we could coach the team too. Obviously not.
And you know what?
You don't get that with Milwaukee.
To that point, even after that, even last night in the when Kyrie was talking, he never mentioned Steve Nash. Even when they were talking about the future, he said they were going to get together with Joe and get together with the owner. Um, and they were gonna look at the management part of it to see, maybe, I guess he was talking about maybe break something down or something like that. But even then, he never mentioned Steve Nash. I don't. I remember when Steve Nash got hired, people said he's going to be a glorified babysitter because it, they wasn't going to listen to him, which is weird because I thought of Steve Nash as being somebody that would be respected, but I don't feel like they see him as Coach Steve Nash. They see him as, oh yeah, that guy that was really good when he was playing.
I think the problem you have with brand new coaches is that you're not proven. And I feel as though we get this problem with for example, we're going to have a lot of these conversations this season in the NFL with Mike McDaniels and I know Dennis Allen has already coached, but being in a new position, and what's another first time?
Mike McDaniels?
Yeah.
Mike McDaniels?
What did I call him? I say
Who's
Eric
Mike?
McDaniels.
Who is Mike McDaniels? Where is he coaching?
Miami.
Miami.
Miami. Okay.
Miami. Yeah, Miami's San Francisco's old offensive coordinator.
Okay.
And
I got confused. Oh
God. I'm blanking today. Eric Dable, who went to, or Brian Dable, not Eric Dable. Brian Dable, who went to the Giants. Yeah, and like these coaches that they've coached before, but you haven't been a head coach. Steve Nash is a whole other beast. Not only have you not head coached before, you haven't even been an assistant. I heard somebody talk about it. I want to say it was Colin Cowherd. Shout out Colin Cowherd. We can have that conversation later. I'm gonna shout out Colin Cowherd. Y'all don't have to. That doesn't have to be a But Peep This thing. That could be a Sean Finn thing, right?
you definitely shouting them out your damn self.
That's fine. That's fine. But he said something where it was like coaches that are brand new, especially that were players previously, typically have to sit on the bench for a little bit before you really see what coaching is. Steve Nash, when he was at the Lakers, he sat on the bench, but most of the time he was hurt. You know, like you don't really get a lot of star player coaches that were on the floor constantly, because being a player and being a coach are two very different things. And Lional, you've been a coach for football. I coach swim currently, which you call it what you want. J's, I don't know if you've coached ever, but like playing the sport and coaching the sport, two very different things. I was not a great swimmer. I did okay. I could. For all you listeners out there, when I was in my prime, I could lap you in a pool. My fat ass now, no. But back in the day, absolutely.
So I couldn't think of an NBA player who went straight to coaching that was good, but I can think of an NFL player who went straight to coaching that was good. Mike Vrabel.
I was just about to say that was going to be my vote.
Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel
didn't have any time in between. He literally just retired and went straight into coaching.
No. Yes.
And he was starter 16 games in a row. Played all the time. Like he was like the main guy for his position.
Do you not know?
Off the top of my head, no. I'm not going to lie to you. I hear the name constantly. I forget what he did, where he was.
Mike Vrabel was a linebacker for the Patriots.
I had a feeling the Patriots. My head was telling me Patriots.
You
Good.
You geeking.
That's fine.
You definitely geeking.
That's fine. I mean, whatever. I'll have to look into that one a little bit more, but I mean, okay. I mean, that's one, but so let me rephrase my statement then. Typically, you don't really have a ton of like star number one players move directly into coaching. It's a whole other thing. You know what we should be seeing as fans more than anything else? And I'm gonna go back to the NBA for a second. LeBron James should not be a coach or a GM. He needs to do his thing. If he wants to be an owner, fine. But we've seen how he is as a GM. And as a coach, I don't think so.
I don't think we can hold this 1 year against him, because when we look at when he made the decision, and I think we can give him credit for that. When he made a decision when he went back to Cleveland, and he wanted Kevin Love instead of Andrew Wiggins, we can agree that was a better move. Now we're looking at Andrew Wiggins now. If we're looking at Andrew Wiggins now, then that's different. But he wasn't thinking about let me develop Andrew Wiggins.
But that's part of the problem. But that's part of the problem, because as a GM, you can't go in there and say, I'm going to get a bunch of old guys together, and that's what's going to happen. That's part, and this is part of where I say there's differences between that and why Steve Nash not getting, like, to reroute it back to where we were, Steve Nash not having that recognition is a problem, because as a player, you could get together with your friends and sit there and be like, yeah, we could play together. We got the chemistry, everything's going to be great.
But you know what? I would trust Steve Nash more if he coached a team that didn't have two mega stars on it.
I agree. But
I would trust him more on that. But as a matter of fact, I wow, and I can't believe I'm saying this. This may be really hot. I feel like Steve Nash could have been Steve Kerr.
no,
I
I
agree.
really feel like that.
I agree. You
really
put Steve Nash in Minnesota. Minnesota wins 55 games.
I believe that
You
because I
put him in
believe
Oklahoma
those players,
City. Oklahoma City wins 55 games.
I believe those players are more willing to listen to Steve Nash than two mega stars who feel
Absolutely.
like I can coach this team. I don't need a coach.
I mean, that might.
Now, I don't want to take away Steve Kerr's credentials because he did have experience before he became a coach, like with all of the things he was doing with Phoenix. And I think he did some things with San Antonio as well.
He was a GM
But
as well.
see, right. So I don't want to take that away. But in terms of coaching, we've seen Steve Kerr become better as a coach because when he got hit in the mouth a couple times going up against LeBron, he didn't really make the moves that he could have, the adjustments that he could have. So he's gotten better. I mean, this year you can give him coach of the year, honestly, with what he's been. Well, I don't know. There's some other people
Kerr?
who are
Nash or Kerr?
Kerr.
Oh, you could give Kerr coach of the year any year, and
Good.
I don't think anybody would argue against it, to be
You can get Kerr
honest.
the trophy.
I believe if you put Nash where Kerr was, with starting with Golden State, with two players who are willing to listen and take that lead, especially with what Mark Jackson left Steve Kerr anyway, then yeah, I think Steve Nash could have been Steve Kerr.
I think if you give Nash the opportunity to learn what it's like to coach first, yeah, maybe. But that's part of my conversation here, is that there's a difference between the four levels of player, coach, GM, and owner. And there's different perspectives all throughout. And what makes somebody a good player doesn't make somebody a good coach. We're not going to sit there and say that Steve Nash isn't top 75 player all time. There's no way.
Any votes for Jason Kidd?
Huh?
Jason Kidd was one of those players who at one time you could consider a star player, kind of went straight into coaching and didn't really do a bad job.
Do you remember Jason Kidd's first year coaching?
I don't think he did a like horrible job. I felt like he knew what he was doing.
He had a losing record. He almost got fired his first year.
I don't think that losing record in your first year should define whether or not you're a good coach or not, especially depending on what team you end up leading. If especially after 1 year, I'm willing to look at what your potential was through that 1 year to see. Now we've seen coaches that knew they didn't have it, like one that was like a star across the sky, Magic Johnson, coached like I think 5 or 10 games or something. He was like, nope, this ain't for me. so we've seen that, but Jason Kidd has also been. I remember Giannis was threatening to leave Milwaukee because they was getting rid of Jason Kidd.
Yeah, I mean, and I think when inevitably it does happen that Steve Nash leaves Brooklyn, that you will always have those players that will sit there and be like, "Yo, that was my guy."
That's fair.
But at the end of the day, Steve Nash is in a really bad position right now. And if he doesn't fix it soon, it's not only going to impact his coaching legacy, but his coaching jobs moving forward, if any. Because right now, name one team in the NBA that's hiring Steve Nash. After this year, right now, what team's hiring Steve Nash?
That's a good point. The only thing that I can try to give Steve Nash credit for is Kyrie has become so much of a villain for everybody that I think a lot of teams will look at. Nash, you had a good position in that you had Kyrie and KD, and at one point James Harden. By having to deal with Kyrie as much as you did, and you got whatever you got out of him, I'm willing to at least listen to you in this interview and not just, I don't know, just take the interview because I like you as a person.
I'll call him for an assistant position. And I'll call him if I'm GM, I'm not going because hear me out on this. If I'm GM, I'm calling Steve Nash and going, look, I see what you're doing in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
But this is your first time coaching.
Right.
I see what you dealt with. You handled it well. Give me a year or two. We'll work on getting you a head coaching position, but I think you need to see a little bit more of what coaching is before you just immediately jump in there. I know you got your playoff record, or I know you got your team to the playoffs, and I think that's solid. But I think you should take some time to at least take 1 year to be an assistant, and then we'll see where things are at from there. And you want to know why I think that prospect works? Why? Because I have a feeling that that's a prospect that's happening currently in the NFL with a certain NFL coach. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Which one?
Do you know who I'm talking about, Lionel?
No.
You have an idea? Talk about Mike Tomlin picking up the phone and calling Brian Flores and saying, hey, I see what you just dealt with. Why don't you come over here? Let's get some of this heat off of you. Do your coaching job. And when things get a little bit better, then we can get you a head coaching position.
And he will do a damn good job. We know Tomlin. We know how Tomlin is with his defense. But we've also seen the only reason why Miami was winning anything is because of Flores' defense. So
you know what Flores brought to Miami that's more important in that scenario, not saying in football in general, but in that scenario than the wins that he brought in? He brought in some level of an identity and a culture to Miami. You look at all the stuff that happened besides the whole tanking stuff that we see with Miami now. That team looked like they were doing something. That team looked like they were moving in a direction. Right. Now Flores is gone. Now Mike McDaniels is there. We'll see what happens. But I think that Tomlin picked up the phone, talked to Flores and said, take a year back, come back to what you know, get some heat off of you, deal with everything that you got going with. We'll support you here. And then in a year or two, we'll get you back out there on the market.
I can see that.
And I think you could do the same thing with Steve Nash and it would be effective. It's not like Steve Nash is an old man. He's what, 40, right. 42, 45? Yeah. I mean, he's got a long career ahead of him. Steve, I don't even think Steve Kerr is like, is Steve Kerr in his 70s yet? I think he's only like 60 something.
No.
So we still got time with Steve Kerr. We're still going to have plenty of time with Steve Nash. Steve Nash can still have a 20-year career.
That's true.
As a coach. We don't have to rush this process.
No, absolutely not.
So that's my opinion on it when it comes to Steve Nash thing. I think you're right. He has potential, but I don't think you are going to get there by continuing to force this thing as a head coach. When your players came out and said, hey, we don't respect you as a head coach, that's a problem. That's a major problem.
It is.
It's a huge problem. And that's a problem that has to be addressed. And it's a problem that I could see Steve Nash not coming back as the Brooklyn coach. It's very possible.
I think it would be better for him, honestly, career-wise.
I agree.
Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna let you make that one, Sean. All right. Okay. Because we'll be here all night talking about that. New Orleans in 6.
I love my Pelicans. I'm not wearing my Saints hat today, but I'm a New Orleans loyal. I have been. Go Breakers! 2-0 right now in the USFL. Haven't watched the game yet. Hopefully, go fix that on Saturday. But we'll see. No. When does Devin Booker come back?
That's the question.
Pick up your mic, Sean. J.E.'s leaning to the camera a little bit.
His mic is on his face.
You tell me.
Oh,
Wait, technical difficulties.
I'm leaving this in. I'm not editing this out.
There we
This is
go.
perfect. Tell me who Herb Jones can't lock down.
Okay, let's have a conversation about something.
New Orleans in 6. Fuck
no.
whatever you got to say.
No.
New Orleans in 6.
I think moving forward, you have a New Orleans team with or without Zion. Let's make that very clear. This New Orleans team with or without Zion, a year or two, 4 or 5 seed in the West. If not better. You got some great pieces there. I could see next year being a 4 or 5 seed in the West. What are they right now? An 8 seed? I mean, you're talking only 4 places up. That's what, 5 games? I think this New Orleans team could win 5 more games with or without Zion. With Zion, most certainly. Without Zion, you might have to work a little harder, but yeah, you could do it.
Speaking of Zion, I know nobody really talk about him right now, which is kind of weird. I'm a player fan. I don't really have a specific team. But the specific teams I have are kind of weird. And one of them NBA teams, and I'm prepared for the laughter, I'm prepared for the jokes, I'm prepared for all of it.
Because you're my
Because
child.
I hate the owner.
Sure, it's always this.
I hate the owner.
Oh, you gonna say the Knicks?
I would love.
You said I hate the owner. I knew exactly what he was talking about. Immediately.
The rumor mill has been rolling about 2 players. And look, I understand all Knicks fans, whether hardcore or casual, if you can say that, all Knicks fans think the same thing every year, that everybody want to play in the Garden, everybody want to play in the Mecca.
This all year.
I get that.
Yeah.
And all the conspiracies, we like to tie the web of who's friends with who and who bought a house here and who spent time there. The rumor mill now is rolling about 2 players in the West going to New York, either both or one or the other. One of them is Zion. The other one is Donovan Mitchell. But Zion, come on, man. Zion, he has to be in New York, man. New York didn't this deserve to get a superstar type buy the tickets player again? It's the Knicks, man.
How many
Okay.
chances do y'all get? Because can we be honest about something? Y'all had plenty of chances.
So
So
many.
the thing about it is, if you want a player who's gonna sell the tickets and do, what the Knicks fans want, then you leave Zion where he at and go out to Donovan Mitchell.
And
You definitely go after Donovan Mitchell, but I would like to see what Zion and old boy getting back together will look like, especially since he's getting better.
And see, my thing about Zion is that you're right. Zion's more of a big market player. I mean, think about what Zion did for the league, just announcing he was coming into. Like, Zion is one of the more marketable players that we haven't seen in a very long time. And injuries aside, which I would like to remind everybody, we had to wait 2 years to see Joel Embiid play.
It was worth it.
Ben Simmons is still a work in progress, but again, we had to wait a year, 2 years before we really saw a Ben Simmons. So, the kid's younger than me. I mean, he's got time.
He does.
And he'll always have a play. I don't think there's any team that will ever not take Zion Williamson, especially New York.
Look, man, the universe cannot hate the Knicks this much. It's
I
been
think they do.
You know what it is? I'll tell you what it is. You know what it is. You know exactly what it is.
It's Dolan. Nobody wants to be there around Dolan.
Okay. It's 2 things. It's that, And it's
What else?
that, what was that, 1985 draft?
Oh yeah.
That frozen envelope?
The
Yeah.
frozen envelope.
Uh-huh.
Frozen
Yeah.
envelope.
Yeah. That's
I
what
mean,
it was.
it was worth it, man. I'm willing to say cheating happened, and I'm willing to say I have no problem with it. I'm willing to say it was worth, even though we didn't get a ring out of Patrick, I'm willing to say it was worth it. Patrick Ewing with the Pacers, really? No.
I
No.
mean, wasn't it y'all that threw Patrick Ewing out the building? Wasn't That's Dolan.
Man,
Y'all gotta get rid of
that's
Dolan.
Dolan.
I mean,
That's
the thing
Dolan.
is, y'all gotta get rid of Dolan. That's what it is.
That's it.
That's what it is.
That's it.
And I don't
And
think
the-
things will get better until you do so.
And the more people pressure Dolan to sell the team, he's not going to do it.
Yeah.
So we should just start ignoring him and see
Yep.
if he's like, oh, well, I'm not important anymore.
Yep.
Get out of here. I mean, you own the Garden. You're still going to get your money. Just go, man. Get out of the way. You're in the way.
So let me ask you, who's the bigger diva, Dolan or Jerry Jones?
Jerry.
Jerry.
I don't think it's anywhere.
Jerry.
And I get the question there, but the difference is that Dolan's just a dick. Like
True.
Dolan's just an asshole.
True.
Jerry makes me think that someone needs to check on him sometime. Like Jerry makes me like sit there and go, what are we doing? Like, and I say we as if I'm a Cowboys fan. Fuck the Cowboys. Like
No
Two
objection.
times.
No objection here.
We
Yeah.
are not Cowboys. Listen, on the
Two
But Peep
times.
This podcast, and I got a particular student, a particular one, and obviously I can't say my student's name on it, but he's gonna know. He's gonna know
No.
that we don't support the Cowboys here.
You know, Sean, I'm gonna give him a name.
You'll give
How
him a
tall?
name?
How tall is he?
He's pretty tall.
Like above 6'2"?
I think he's taller than you.
Okay. Brad. We're gonna call him
We're
Brad.
gonna call him Brad.
Brad. We don't mess with the Cowboys right here, Brad.
No.
I can't wait for
You-
it. I can't wait.
You geeking if you think we mess with the Cowboys around here, but not.
And if he
No.
hasn't figured it out at this point, this is gonna happen. The whole class don't like the Cowboys either.
Brad. Sean students, y'all start
Oh,
calling him Brad. Call him Brad.
You know
Please
what?
don't call him Brad.
I love what happened to them with Dak, because I don't think Dak is a horrible quarterback,
He's not.
but the amount of money that Dak made Jerry Jones pay him, love it. I love it because
were they
he's
gonna get?
not. That's the thing. He wasn't gonna. Nobody else was gonna.
Yeah,
he
all the
wasn't gonna get
cards.
anybody else. That's it. That's
Dak,
it. I love what happened to them.
Dak on a better team is a consistent playoff, like
Absolutely.
damn near Super Bowl contender. And,
Absolutely.
honestly, like it's, and I used to hate on Dak. Like I liked him as a person, but I was like, but the past couple of years, man, we blame Dak for a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, it wasn't Dak. And Dak just has been dealing with that like a champ. All Dak said is like, hey, if you're gonna put me through all this, you might as well pay me.
Oh, you got to pay me.
You gotta pay me. So
Sean. I just want to throw this one point out, okay? Tony Romo was the quarterback for the Cowboys. Think about every draft class since 2008, right? All the great quarterbacks who came out since 2008.
Tony Romo
And the Cowboys like, nah, nah, fam. We rocking with Romo.
we rocking with Romo, which Romo wasn't a bad quarterback. I think another scenario of, and this is what I'm afraid of for Dak. Romo will always be, Romo was the Dallas quarterback, but could you imagine him on another team?
Absolutely.
That's a winning record quarterback. Because Romo had it. Yeah, bad luck. That's what he had more than anything else.
Since we're on the NFL, I just want to state this for the record too.
Do you think?
Deebo Samuel.
I'm ready.
Deebo Samuel is geeking. You have one good year, and you like, nah, trade me. What?
So let's give some context for those people who are not following fully what's happening. So Deebo Samuel recently has requested a trade. Supposedly, the information that we have out of it is this, and mind you, and I feel like I gotta say this. I've said this in the fantasy league before. I feel like I gotta say it again. But like, if you follow the NFL, you get all of your information from one place. So whatever I'm telling you, I'm not a fucking insider. Just go out and find it yourself. like I'm not an insider. There's nothing more to it than I just read stuff. So Deebo Samuel requested a trade supposedly because of two reasons. One, he wanted more money. Two, he doesn't want to be this dual role running back wide receiver player. Deebo Samuel around the league is typically regarded as someone who teams have to plan around. So even though Deebo Samuel is not, like, I wouldn't put him in a top 25 wide receivers list right now, I would still say when he's there, you got to kind of plan for him. I mean, let's keep in mind, San Francisco won an entire playoff game because of Deebo Samuel. With that being said, San Francisco said, you want the money? You can have the money. And Deebo Samuel said, no. And so now it's like, huh? What?
I think I know the reason, Sean.
Go for it.
I think we need to read in between the lines here.
Okay.
So when a receiver, right, of star caliber, all of a sudden wants a trade, I think it's usually for two reasons. If all things constant, when I say all things constant, I'm saying the money. He can get the money, right?
Yep.
It's either he's not getting enough touches, or there's a quarterback issue. I think either San Fran has decided internally that they're either going with Jimmy G, or they've decided internally that they're going with Trey Lance. And whatever decision they made in the quarterback room, Deebo Samuel don't like it.
I think it's closer to the quarterback issue than it is anything. I agree with that, because in the beginning, I thought he was just like, look, if y'all gonna have me playing this dual role thing or whatever, you're gonna pay me dual money. And for that, I don't really have an argument with. But I think you're spot on. I think it has to be, because I've never heard anything about that particular coach to say that I don't want to be around him or I don't want to play with him. I've never heard that. I've never heard anything about, oh, well, I don't want to play in California. Never heard that either.
Never.
This also kind of
And
came
it
out of
has
left
to be the
field.
quarterback.
Right.
This
It did.
wasn't like we built on this throughout the season. It wasn't like we
Right.
saw or heard rumors of like, Deebo Samuel doesn't like this or that. It's
Right.
like all of a sudden, oh, no, I don't want to play here. So thinking about that, I think definitely a decision was made. And
Oh,
Deebo's like,
And I feel like San Francisco shot themselves in the foot for two reasons. One, okay, you gave Jimmy G $100 million. He played 6 games. Then he tore his MCL. Right? Okay, cool. So you pay me, 100 mil, 6 years. I'm the guy. That's what I'm on. You don't pay a backup 6 years. I've never seen it. Right?
right.
And then you play a couple seasons, you win a couple games, you are successful, right? And then you trade up in the draft and you take Trey Lance. So now when you trade up to get a quarterback, usually that's your guy.
That's a new guy.
Yeah.
So you got a guy who you paid $100 million and he's thinking he's the guy, then you drafted the guy first round and you're saying he's the guy. Who's the guy? You got two quarterbacks. So you know what that means?
Nope.
You don't have a quarterback.
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah, I
You're
think
mess around and let Arizona win the division or LA.
Or my vote is on LA on it.
LA with the repeat. I agree.
so. That division remind LA,
Arizona,
Seattle.
San Fran.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, LA.
LA.
That defense. Just a side note, real quick. LA's defense is insane. That defense is ridiculous.
The sliders are up.
Honestly, like
The sliders are
what
up.
the hell, man?
So Jay, let me ask you a question, all right? Because you're a Patriots fan, right?
Still a little bit. Yeah.
Just say yes. Just
Interesting.
say yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're an Alabama fan too, right?
Oh boy.
For the point of this conversation, I say yes.
Okay.
I like that answer.
You taking Jimmy G over Tua?
Jimmy G over Tua. Why do they feel like they're looking in a mirror at each other?
Oh man.
Because if you ask me, like if I'm picking one to be the franchise, I'm going Tua.
Yeah.
But if I'm in win now mode, I'm going Jimmy G.
Yeah. Damn. That's a tough one because
Got you thinking on this here Tuesday.
Because I'll tell you, y'all know I don't like Tua. Not a Tua fan. But man,
I'm stuck on that one.
And on this section,
that's tough.
Sean is a hater. Sean's been hating on Tua.
Since I'll tell you exactly when.
Tua threw the touchdown.
I'll take it from here. Because I'll tell you what.
You're a hater. You don't need to get into it.
I don't get because I'm gonna get into it. And you know why? Because I'm gonna tell you why. Number one, I'm a huge Alabama hater. Have been a Steve.
Oh.
I'm ready.
See, before you keep going,
Right?
I'm not an Alabama hater. I used to be a deep Alabama fan. It's just I started getting further and further away from being fans of teams. I just really appreciate just good sports, like good football.
Yeah.
But I'm not an Alabama hater. I can't.
I am. I have a lot of reasons as to why. The core is because I grew up an LSU fan. Like it's in the DNA. Like it was in the early 2010s DNA or the early 2000s DNA, right? It just is what it is. So, and I just kind of kept it because that's fun. Have a good time with it. But let's talk about Tua. I'm not.
Tagovailoa.
Say it one more time.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Tagovailoa. Because here on the But Peep This podcast, even though we hate on people, when it's unwarranted, we still give them the respect they deserve. There's no reason to get, I have no problem with Tua as a person.
I appreciate that.
I disrespect Tua as a player, and here's why. So you're in the national championship game.
Okay.
You got Jalen Hurts, which in my opinion, and I'm going to continue to hold this opinion, one of the best Alabama quarterbacks that they had in these past 20 years. And I'm going to continue to hold that opinion. And there's not really much you could tell me otherwise.
We're going to get into that next week.
Okay.
Hold on. Pause.
That's fine.
Time out. Stephen M. Smith, I'm calling on you right now. Sure.
I'm ready.
I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I did like Jalen Hurts. I really did. I'm willing to take that Blake Sims year over what Jalen Hurts did.
I'm gonna take AJ McCarron's year, even with
I didn't say the best. I said one
Johnny
of the
Maz.
best. I said one of the best. I put
If
AJ
you're talking one
McCarron
of
up
the-
there as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
because I was just going to say, if you're
yeah.
talking one of the best, you're talking AJ McCarron on down.
So
I'm,
in the
Anybody
past
before him?
20 years, you got John Parker Wilson, you got Brody Croyle, you got Jacob Coker, you got Blake Sims, you got Greg McElroy,
hit them all.
you got
Karen.
McCarron. If you want to get technical, you got Blake Barnett because he started a couple games. Steve gonna correct me, but I missed the old 2000 to 2003 quarterbacks. But I know Brody Croyle, and then John Parker
Right.
Wilson,
John
and
Parker
then
Wilson.
Greg McElroy, and then AJ McCarron, and then Blake Sims, and then Jacob Coker, and then Jalen Hurts, and that whole quarterback room, and then Tua, and then Mac, and now Bryce. And then
Now,
it's going to be Archie Manning's going to be the next one.
Before
Arch?
Sean continues it, yeah, Arch. Before Sean continues his point, I just want to say real quick, can you imagine John Parker Wilson's check had NIL been around at the time? Because remember, he was on reality TV. way back.
Two-a-days?
He was on, John Parker Wilson would have been a star.
Listen, let me
Just
tell
the
you
way
something.
He looked.
And Sean, I'm gonna let you finish, Sean. But if NIL was around in 2005, when Nick Saban came around, Alabama would have won every single championship from then on.
I have no doubt about that because I mean, let's be real. Trevor Lawrence doesn't go to Clemson. Like, I mean, let's just call it what it is,
Jameis Winston doesn't go to Florida State. It does
I
not
have no
happen.
problems. I
Deshaun
have
Watson.
no problems with any player that has played at Clemson. I just want Dabo Sweeney to have the worst life for the rest of his life.
Yeah, he's a
That
dick.
is just how I feel.
Just
Yeah,
the
he's
slight inconveniences. I want him to lose socks. I want him to forget where he put his keys at. Like I
All
want
of
his steak. He ordered it medium and got a medium well.
Yeah, he's a
He got to
dick.
chew a little bit.
I want him to have the perfect meal, perfect dinner, everything set, sit down in front of the TV, and the batteries go dead when he's trying to change the TV. I want shit like that to happen.
Yeah, agree. Okay, Sean, continue on why you a hater.
So Tua, right? For all of you who don't know at this point, I don't remember what SEC championship game it was or whatever playoff game it was, whatever it was. But it was Alabama versus Georgia. Georgia should have won the game. Tua threw the luckiest damn pass.
Oh.
No, go back and watch it. Watch how
No.
far he overthrows that receiver. Go back and watch it.
No.
Go back and watch it. Overthrow.
No.
Yeah. The receiver had the
No.
full extent to get the ball. He was
He caught
wide
him in
open.
stride.
He was
That's
wide open.
That's a dime, Sean.
That ain't a
That's
dime.
That's
He wouldn't throw a dime.
That's a dime.
So
He
I
caught
sat there
him
and
in
watched that
stride.
play. I said, damn, that's a lucky ass throw. I can't believe that
Wow.
backup quarterback just made that pass. And then the next thing I know, everybody's sitting there talking about Tua as the new savior of fucking Bama. And I'm like, he didn't even make a good throw. He got lucky, which you get credit for being lucky, and that's fine. He got credit for being lucky, and that's fine.
Let me tell you something.
There's nothing wrong with that. But no.
In the environmental field, we say it all the time. Better lucky than good.
And again, Tua gets all the credit that he's gotten. But then here comes Tua into the league. And you could ask anybody. They were like, who do you think will be the quarterback drafted? And I'm like, I don't think Tua is gonna go. I was being a dick, let's be honest. But I don't have faith in this kid. I don't.
Look,
and
I'm giving Tua this year, not just because of Tyreek Hill, but because he actually has an offensive minded coach. I'm willing to.
Tyreek Hill is a big help.
He doesn't have an arm. He's not very athletic. He doesn't make great throw. Tua. Yes, Tua.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Can you tell me what out of the quarterbacks that you consider to be athletic when it comes to moving on their feet?
Dual threat.
Dual threat quarterbacks. Fine. If that's what you want to call them now, whatever. How many of them do you put under Tua?
Under Tua?
Under Tua. That means you take Tua and you say Tua's more athletic than, say, Lamar Jackson. You say Tua's more athletic than Josh Allen. You say Tua's more athletic.
Josh Allen is just big.
I can't give it. Okay. That's
Are
not a bad
you
point.
serious?
That's not a bad point.
I'm going to end this call right now. That is the worst take ever.
When Josh Allen gets from behind that offensive line, big or not, he makes shit happen. I ain't giving that. And the bid does count for something because he will try to run some people over. I don't think I could put him under Tua, though. What I would say about Tua is Tua's best throws are when he's able to roll out of the pocket.
So does he throw the ball better on the run than Russell Wilson? Does he throw the ball better on the run than Patrick Mahomes? Does he throw the ball better on the run than Aaron Rodgers? Does he throw the ball better on the run than... Here, I'll give you an easy one. Ryan Tannehill.
Yes.
Cool, we get Ryan Tannehill. Fantastic.
No,
he's not...
But wait, before that, you gave me 3 bona fide Hall of Famers. He's not even there.
Tom Brady he throws better on the run than Tom Brady. There you go. There's one.
Yes.
Tom Brady's not athletic. Let's just end that conversation. Okay, come on. Yeah, he throws better on the run than Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, probably better on the run now than Joe Theismann. Sorry, Joe Theismann. But like, I mean, they're like, come on. What are we saying?
Hold up. Time out.
What are we saying here?
Time out, Sean. I don't like the energy and the spirit. I don't like the spirit and the energy that you just brought on this call. Like
I'm sorry, Joe. I'm sorry, Joe Theismann. I'm real sorry.
Joe didn't do nothing to nobody. But I do believe that now that Tua has, Waddle, he has Tyreek, all of those guys. I think I'm not saying they're gonna win the division because I honestly think New England is gonna do something in the draft. They'll win 12 games and they'll win the division and probably tie up with Buffalo. But I think 3 playoff teams are gonna come from the AFC East this year, and Miami will be one of them. Miami, New England, Buffalo.
I give you that. It
right.
No.
Are you kidding me?
No, because I look at what New England
in the AFC.
I look at what New England was able to do last year.
Right.
With a rookie quarterback who didn't really have great weapons. I look at what they was able to do last year, and I trust. I got 20 years of trusting New England.
Absolutely.
I can't just give it up just like that.
No.
So it's very possible that I'm wrong, but I'm far more willing to trust New England than I am to trust Buffalo. So I understand what Buffalo got right now. I understand. I understand what they got, but I'm more willing to trust what Belichick, and I'm more willing to do that. I'm more willing to trust what Belichick can do than anybody else in that division.
Buffalo lost an overtime game to Patrick Mahomes that nobody thought was going to go a different way. And that was so controversial that it's literally changing the way that overtime is being played. You mean to tell me that Buffalo team
But wait,
is gonna
hold on. I got this one.
England?
Because we may be thinking the same thing, Lional, so I'm gonna go ahead and give you that.
Go ahead, do your thing.
Oh my God.
We're talking about that same Buffalo team that let New England do what they did to them with running the ball all
through one pass.
And I'm not talking about the second game they played because Buffalo was expected
right. We're not
to
talking
win.
about the game that actually mattered. Right? Like what?
All games matter.
Buffalo was expected
and you know
to
that as
beat
that
everybody.
The truth.
They was expected to beat everybody in that division.
Oh my God.
But I'm willing to trust Belichick on any given Sunday than I am anybody else in that division.
22 years in the NFL as a coach for the Patriots.
I'm
How many
sorry.
how many years has Belichick missed the playoffs?
How many years did he
What,
not have
it's
Tom
been
Brady?
twice, right?
How many times did he not have
Three,
Tom
isn't
Brady?
it?
3 times he's missed the playoffs.
How many times does he not have Tom Brady?
That he made the playoffs?
Just
Didn't
in
the
his
Patriots-
career. In his career.
Because
You-
wait a minute. That year that they had, the year that Brady got injured,
Matt
Okay, add it in
Castle.
there. Add
They
it
went
in there.
11-5
Fine.
with
Add
Matt
it in there.
11-5.
11-5.
Add it in there. I'm not saying don't add it in there. Add it in there.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not taking that away. I knew it. I look, I understand. Okay, Matt Castle. Give me another one.
They just made the playoffs with Mac Jones.
Okay, right. Yeah, so we got 2 years without right.
Rookie, a very limited rookie.
Okay. Is that it? So 2 years? Two years. Well, they made the playoffs. So 1 year. So out of 22 years, out of those 22 years, he hasn't had Tom Brady for 2 years. Right?
Uh-huh.
And in those 2 years, 1 year he went to the playoffs. And this will be the next year, right? This was the first year without Tom Brady? No, this is the
Second
third.
year.
This is the third.
This is the 3rd year without
This
Tom
is the
Brady.
third. So you missed the playoffs the first year. You made it the second year. Now we got to see what you do the third year. But okay, that's a conversation. What I already know what you're gonna say. I get it. Listen.
This concludes Sean as a hater. Like the segment ran a lot longer than it was supposed to.
So tell me. So you
we're gonna
say
let Rob Dyrdek cool down a little bit.
No. So you say that Miami, New England, and Buffalo are all going to make the playoffs in the AFC, right?
Yes.
Outside of that, tell me what teams do you knock out of the playoffs since those 3 teams all made it in?
3 teams I knocked out of the playoffs.
Hold on. Cincinnati, Kansas City, Las Vegas, Baltimore, Indy, Los Angeles Chargers, Pittsburgh Steelers, Denver Broncos, Cleveland Browns, Tennessee Titans, the Jets, the Jets, the Texans, and the Jaguars. We can put the 3 of them in the bottom.
Which division you want me to start with?
You just tell me what division is not going to make the playoffs since you got 3 teams from one area.
You got 2 wild cards, Sean.
That's fine. But
okay.
you mean to tell me, like in all seriousness, take your fandom out of this. In all seriousness, you legitimately believe that the Miami Dolphins are going to knock out the Los Angeles Chargers from the playoffs? You think they're going to knock out the Denver Broncos from the playoffs?
Denver, yes.
Skateboard Shaggy, I want you to listen to me closely, okay?
Denver, yes.
This is insane. This is absolutely
Denver, yes.
insane. This
Denver,
Miami team and that New England team, you think is going to do better than Indy, Baltimore, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and damn Denver? Are we serious right now?
You named 3 teams in the same division.
It's 2 wild card spots.
That AFC West.
I mean, are we kidding me?
I think they can do better than Denver.
Oh my God.
They can definitely do better than LA.
We keep asking the question every year, are the Raiders for real? I still don't think they're for real yet.
Not convinced.
And even with Josh McDaniels. As a matter of fact, definitely with Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels going up against Bill Belichick, we know how that works with Belichick. It is.
How did it work last time? It didn't.
We know how that happened.
It didn't work.
I don't trust Indy yet. So, yeah, now the rest of them, Baltimore, as long as, and it's saying a lot, as long as Lamar Jackson stay healthy, they'll be there. But that's saying a lot.
Pittsburgh going to rebuild this year, period.
That's fine. You can have that one. I mean, I don't see it just because they got too much.
Cleveland, I still don't think Deshaun Watson off the hook for real.
I don't even know if he's gonna play this season.
I don't want to have that conversation right now.
And I don't blame you.
I get it.
I'm with you.
I got it. But
they ain't nothing to say.
Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, Tua, That's a
and an
that's a
offensive-minded coach.
that's a four-headed monster. Put that on a cracker, dude.
I'll give you 3. Tua's not. He doesn't.
So you agree, Tyreek, Waddle, and Gesicki?
Tyreek is proven. Waddle had a great year.
Mhm.
Gesicki's overrated,
Gesicki,
personally. Personally.
Gesicki is overrated.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that.
Wow.
You a hater.
No, I'm not hating. I'm just trying to
Wow.
figure out where
You a
Mike Gesicki has been making plays that has changed Miami Dolphins like games.
He was
I'm
that
just trying to
security
figure that out.
blanket.
What you?
I'm just trying to figure that out
He was
because
that security
as
blanket
far
on
as
offense.
I know, Jalen Waddle was their number 1 receiver last year, right?
Naturally, wide receivers get the ball more than tight ends.
Okay. And then as far as I know, the previous year when Gesicki was there, what was he doing?
Hurt.
Okay. And then the previous year to that, because I know he's
Rookie.
been in the league for a while.
Rookie.
His rookie year. So do you mean to tell me Gesicki's career at this point has been rookie year, which was solid because he made a name for himself, hurt the second year, and then got outshined by another rookie? I don't want to hear it. I don't
got
really.
outshined by a wide receiver rookie.
Does Sean not know how offense works?
I'm willing to take that.
On a team where you don't really have a lot of weapons. I'm talking about last year. Talking about last year before you start jumping. Talking about last year. Okay, talking about last year. Keep that in mind. On a team where you don't have a lot of weapons. I mean, for God's sakes, Dalton Schultz was doing stuff with a more weapon-heavy team in Dallas than Gesicki did in Miami. Like Dalton Schultz had more of a name for himself than Gesicki did. And we're not even going to begin to talk about Travis Kelce. We're not even going to begin to talk about George Kittle. We're not even going to begin to talk about damn Darren Waller.
Okay.
If a player is good, I'll even say Pitts up in Atlanta.
73 catches, 780 yards, 10 yards a catch, 2 touchdowns.
For
Mike Gesicki.
743 yards, 73 receptions. So about 10 yards of reception, which is solid. That's good. It's a lot of big plays. 2 touchdowns. Fantastic. Dalton Schultz.
71 catches, 910 yards, 6 touchdowns. Who is that?
I don't know. I figured you were
George Kittle.
That's George Kittle. Fantastic. That's much better of numbers. Doing the less with the ball. And also keep in mind, you picked George Kittle when you know George Kittle didn't play all 16 games last season. That was not a good pick. Because you mean to tell me that a George Kittle that didn't play all games has better numbers than Gesicki did, who played all 16 games, if I'm not mistaken? Try again.
Darren Waller.
Injured most of the season.
55,
as a person who has him on my fantasy team, injured a decent amount of the season. But go
55
ahead.
Catches, 665 yards, 2 touchdowns.
So 20 less receptions, only 100 less yards. And how many touchdowns?
2.
2 touchdowns. Same amount of touchdowns with 20 less receptions and a little bit more yards. So what I'm getting out of this is that Gesicki catch the ball and not run anywhere with it. Cool. You want to try again? You want to give me Dalton Schultz like I asked?
I'm not saying Dalton Schultz isn't
78
worthy.
catches, 808 yards, 8 touchdowns.
For Dalton Schultz.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm gonna rest my case at this point.
Yeah, because I'm not saying he isn't worthy. I'm just saying for Gesicki, he was very clearly the security blanket for that team and for Tua.
But for as talented as what y'all are trying to tell me he is,
hold up.
Why is he not? I don't understand. I don't get it.
And that's why we're willing to believe that they're going to be better because they now have an offensive-minded coach.
But if Tua couldn't get the ball to him originally, when like your security blanket is, I don't see it.
Time Timeout.
Okay. Go ahead.
We're talking about 5 catches and 28 yards.
For Dalton Schultz.
That's the difference between Dalton Schultz and Mike Gesicki.
Here's the difference between Dalton Schultz and Mike Gesicki. Where was Mike Gesicki ranked at the beginning of last year?
I don't know.
Where was Dalton Schultz ranked?
I
he was
don't
on
know.
the bench. You're trying to justify to me.
A game.
You're trying to justify to me that this Mike Gesicki.
That happens in the NFL a lot.
Hence why
on the bench and he started a game.
Hence why I'm saying he is overrated. I think you're missing what I'm saying here. Mike Gesicki is supposed to be this top-rated tight end, but yet he got outshined by a guy who damn near came off the bench and no one even knew who he was.
5 catches for 28 yards is not outshining.
If you are a star, like you're trying to tell me that Gesicki is a part of this 4-headed monster you got, then I expect more. That's all I'm saying.
5 catches.
That's fine.
For 28 yards. That's 28 yards, 5 catches, probably in the red zone, more than your guy who you said dominated, Mike Gesicki.
When did I say the word dominate?
When
did I say the word dominate?
What?
We'll go back. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna make sure I put in this. I'll make sure I put in this.
Sure.
Right or wrong? Right or wrong? I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna edit this. I'm gonna cut this part of it out. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna edit this and I'm gonna put in there what I said originally about Mike Gesicki and Dalton Schultz. I'm writing it down right now.
Write it down.
Mike Gesicki, Dalton.
I literally just gave you the numbers.
Schultz. No. That's not what we're talking about. You're saying that I said that Dalton Schultz dominated Mike Gesicki.
I like how you're doing this.
No,
Jedi. Okay, maybe you didn't say dominate. Maybe you didn't say dominate.
Thank you.
Maybe you didn't say dominate.
Thank you.
But you're definitely putting Dalton Schultz over Mike Gesicki right now. We're talking about 5 catches for 28 yards.
J.E.'s.
Yeah.
Did Mike Gesicki have more catches than Dalton Schultz?
5 less.
What was like
5 less.
Okay. Did Mike Gesicki have more yards than Dalton Schultz?
28.
Did Mike Gesicki have more touchdowns than Dalton Schultz?
6 touchdowns.
And how is he not better?
Red zone.
I don't think we can just the touchdown things. I don't think that's a
okay,
full,
fine,
explanation of who's better at catching the ball than who's not, because we know a lot of just red zone threats, and I mean anybody can rack them up. Well, anybody with that size can rack them up there.
So then Gesicki had more yards, right?
He had 28 less yards.
It doesn't matter. What difference does it make? What difference does it make? If Drew Brees had 28 less yards than Tom Brady for all-time passing yards, would you be sitting there telling me, oh, Drew Brees is just as good as Tom Brady? No, you would sit there and say Tom Brady has more passing yards than Tom Brady has more passing yards than Drew Brees.
28 yards separate number 1 from number 2.
But here's the thing. You know what, J.E.?
28 yards.
J.E., you brought up a great point. You said that the touchdowns don't necessarily speak to what the tight ends were able to do, right?
Right.
That there's a difference there. So tell me, what is the difference between Dalton Schultz's situation and Mike Gesicki's situation?
With Gesicki, like I said, it was I looked at him so much more as a security blanket for that team. I know Waddle did what he did but as a rookie, nobody expected Jamar Chase to do what he did last year. Nobody's really expecting rookie wide receivers to just blow up the league like that.
I am now, but that's a conversation for another day.
You know what? This is not a bad point. But for somebody like Tua, who I think most people can agree that he was struggling, that he's been struggling up to this point. And for Gesicki to be there to kind of help move along a stagnant offense, Yeah, I'm not even looking at it so much as Gasecki being the better tight end here. I'm looking at Miami's offense as a whole, knowing almost that it's going to be better than what we've seen in the last 2 or 3 years.
You don't say. That Mike Gesicki's numbers would probably have to do with the offense that he was in. And Dalton Schultz's numbers probably have to do with the offense. Crazy you would say that. So let me ask you one more question.
Okay.
Who runs the offense when they're on the field for the Miami Dolphins?
I
That's
Come
a
on,
low.
come
That's
on,
a
come
that's
on,
a
give it to me.
loaded question.
You know exactly what I'm saying. You know exactly
Okay,
what I'm saying.
Trying to say
Tua
it's
is the
on Tua?
quarterback.
Tua's the quarterback, right? So, my bad, right? Hold on, Jalen Waddle's running the offense, right?
Well, if you want to get technical, Ryan Fitzpatrick played most of last year. So
Ryan Fitzpatrick played was
yeah, most of last
so
year.
fantastic. So Ryan Fitzpatrick, okay, right, and then Miami got good towards the end, right? Because apparently they're supposed to win the play, like they should be in the playoffs, and they really didn't do much in free agency. We need to clear that up majorly, right?
Miami didn't.
Correct.
They traded for Tyreek Hill.
That's the one thing that they did. Fantastic.
That's enough.
That makes them a playoff team. That makes them a playoff team. Tyreek Hill makes them a playoff team.
Yes.
That's what you're telling me?
Yes.
Because the quarterback doesn't change.
Undoubtedly.
The quarterback doesn't change, which based on what y'all are saying, again, okay, Mike Gesicki's not having the numbers he's having. Why? Well, because he's not getting the ball as much as all. Oh, wait a minute. Who's got to throw him the ball? Okay, so we'll go in there. But let's say it was Ryan Fitzpatrick, right? Ryan Fitzpatrick played the majority of the season. Maybe you give Tua all 16 games. Mike Gesicki becomes a star. I'll be the first one to make a video that happens and make a video and put it on our Facebook page, put it on all our social media and say, you know what? I was wrong about Tua. I'll make sure I look up the correct way to pronounce his name. And I'm putting this on a recording so you know I mean it. Okay? Now, Tua, right? Okay, Tua starting the ball. Now, you got Dalton Schultz over here, who is not as talented as Mike Gesicki. Let's get that out the way.
That's an opinion.
However, he's getting the ball thrown to him in a better way. So either A, Mike Gesicki's overrated because he's not as talented as what he has been put out to be, or B, the problem isn't Mike Gesicki, it's the original point I was making, which Tua isn't that good. So why don't you tell me which one it is?
Or C.
Why don't you tell me which one it is? Huh?
Here it is.
Tell me what it is.
When you bring up Dallas, that they got Amari Cooper on one side, CeeDee Lamb on one side, and you got who is that guy in the backfield? Zeke.
And Tony Pollard, don't forget about him too.
And Dallas's offense is run first, set you up for the pass. Okay. Now I'm about to go coach one-on-one on your punk ass. All right, here we go. When you planning for an offense, what's the first thing you need to do?
Oh, you're asking the wrong part.
The best player needs to be neutralized.
Fantastic.
All right, so Zeke, we can't have Zeke. Zeke's out. We need to stack the box on Zeke. Okay. What's number 2?
Timeout. Hold on, timeout. I'm not stacking the box on Zeke. I'll let him run. That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
And
I would rather figure out a way to be able to stop Amari Cooper before I stop Zeke.
Yeah, and then just run all over you.
Yeah, because that's what's happened in the past.
Yeah, because the only way you stop Amari Cooper is if you put a safety on top of him, double him. Okay, so now you got the middle of the field open, now you got CeeDee Lamb cutting across.
What was Zeke's numbers last year? No, I mean, go ahead and talk. I'm listening to you. I'm just looking up some stuff.
In Dallas's offense, this is the point I'm trying to make. In Dallas's offense, you got what?
Go ahead. I'm just going.
You got Zeke in the backfield, viable threat. You got Amari Cooper. You got CeeDee Lamb. Hell, you got Dak. you're gonna miss somebody. That's just how that offense works. And you miss Dalton Schultz. Not saying Dalton Schultz not good, but sometimes like you just gotta let him make that. And most offenses, when you lock down receivers or neutralize running backs, your tight end is your go-to.
Okay, so let's take the same thing with Miami.
Okay.
So who are we neutralizing first on Miami?
Tyreek.
Okay, so Tyreek Hill neutralize Tyreek Hill. So that now leaves Jalen Waddle, probably Jarvis in the slot, and Gesicki.
Jarvis who?
And he doesn't play for them anymore. That's been a long fucking time.
No.
See what get your information.
It's been a long time. Why did I even think that?
Why
Who
did
am
you
I
think
thinking
that?
of?
Bad points.
I'm not sure
points
why they
taken
let
off.
Devontae Parker go.
That's who
When they coulda
I was
just-
thinking of.
No.
That's who
Devontae
I was
Parker
thinking
is
of.
a Patriot.
That's who I was thinking of, though. I was thinking of Devontae Parker.
So
He didn't play on the Patriots last year, but
he's a Patriot now.
yeah, now, but not the yeah.
Wait,
Okay, got it.
did they get him?
Yeah, the Patriots
didn't.
traded for Devontae Parker.
No, because I knew it was between the Patriots and somebody else. I didn't know.
Yeah,
the Patriots.
it's New England.
Oh well, damn. That's gonna be one of them things. See, Miami wanted Devontae Parker to be that guy. They really wanted him to be that guy, and we know what happens when Belichick usually get that guy. The other teams wanted to be that.
Mac
guy.
Jones is gonna put up a hell of a season with N'Keal Harry and Devontae Parker. I can see it now. Y'all make me sick.
I don't trust.
This
that
is
song.
sickening.
You are hating.
This is sickening. Are you kidding me?
You hate- You
Look
hating
at
on
what
New
they
England?
did
This is
last
sick.
season.
Devontae Parker and N'Keal Harry. That's your 1 and 2?
Look,
Don't forget
you
Kendrick
know-
Bourne.
you know
Oh,
what
I
New England-
can't forget about him.
you know what New England has been able to do with bottom of the barrel receivers.
Like, I don't know why he's sitting here geeking. Like,
I
why?
don't like.
I'm about to mute you. You hate
That
you
was
hating
a
on New
receiver
England.
who was the MVP because of New England. And when he left, you forgot he existed. And so he had to come back. Like,
Like I said,
I
you-
cannot wait until November
You hate
when the
on
Patriots have like a 500 record at the most. And I'm gonna sit there and go, hey y'all, remember when we talked about the Patriots are gonna make the playoffs and when the Dolphins suck absolute ass this year? I'm gonna be like, man, Buffalo's really sweeping that division right now, huh?
So wait, what is your
Yeah.
explanation for the Patriots doing what they did last year? How do you explain that and not believe that they're gonna be better next year?
Speak up. Come on.
Bill Belichick is a great coach, if not probably one of the best NFL coaches that's ever existed. And I think that's a huge thing, honestly, because I'll give you an example that's a little closer to me. The Saints had 4 starting quarterbacks throughout all of last year.
Oh God.
The Saints went 9-8. You're going to sit there and tell me that Saints team goes 9-8 without Sean Payton?
You're deflecting.
Give me a break. I think it's important. How am I deflecting?
You're deflecting.
I'm,
Answer the question.
how am I deflecting? I'm making a point.
Ask your question again, J.E.'s.
How am I deflecting?
How do you explain
What is the
New England
deflection?
did last year?
I'm literally trying to
And-
give Bill
and-
Belichick
wait,
credit, and you are
listen
deflecting. You're
to the
telling me I'm
question.
deflecting.
No,
Listen to
and
the
I
question.
take your credit. But how do you explain what they did last year and not believe they're gonna be better next year?
Answer the question.
Mac Jones is as good as he's going to get.
Damn.
If Mac Jones is as good as he's going to get, that's pretty damn good.
Is it?
Yeah. If you know, hey, you know what? If
Is
you
it?
stop right there? Yeah.
As a rookie, he took a New England team to the playoffs.
Look at
okay.
the basic. Look at the basic quarterbacks who have made it to the playoffs.
But wait, hold on. Let's look at something here. Like because I want you to really sit there and look at me in my face and sit there and tell me that this is what you feel is the best that somebody's gonna get. And you would want this on your team day in and day out. 67% completion, 3,801 yards, 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions.
That's about average for NFL, 60%.
So the best you're going to get is average? That's what you want? You want an average quarterback.
You can take an average quarterback who don't lose you the game.
How far?
I could take you can take them all the way to the Super Bowl. We've seen that. We've seen that happen more than once. We've seen that happen. Matter of fact, the first 2 to 3 years, we've seen that happen with Brady. It can happen. Yeah. Oh, Brady was not that guy in the beginning. He was not.
This is a joke. This is one of the craziest things.
I began being a Patriots fan because of Drew Bledsoe. So when they chose Brady over Bledsoe, I would admit I was the one who was pissed. But Brady was not that guy in the beginning.
What?
Very possible to get.
What mediocre quarterbacks made the playoffs last year?
What was it? Did Tyler Heineke make it?
No.
I'm thinking about the year before that when he almost beat Brady, by the way.
But he lost. But okay, yeah. But like I said, last year, I didn't talk about last year.
Last year.
Uh-huh.
Basic quarterbacks who made
mediocre quarterbacks.
Are we splitting hairs between basic and mediocre?
I mean, if you want to take basic, mediocre, whoever you want to put in there, not elite. Okay. Not great. Not great.
Elite.
There you go.
I just want to say for the record.
Somebody tell me.
I just want to say for the record. Hang on, real quick. For the record, Mac Jones had a better completion percentage than Tom Brady, Justin Herbert, Matt Stafford, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Kirk Cousins, Matt Ryan, Big Ben, Tannehill, Trevor Lawrence, Wentz, Heineke, and Jared Goff last year.
And out of all of those, how many of those did he throw more touchdowns in, and how many did he throw less interceptions in? Okay, yeah, because
we're not doing the touchdown.
Okay, all right,
I'm
done. I'm done.
We're not doing the touchdown of yards thing.
So you want average? 67% is average.
This is literally dumb.
I just named 10 quarterbacks that he had better percentage than. So are those quarterbacks average?
This is dumb. This is so dumb. You're gonna pick the one thing that so he had a better completion percentage. That doesn't mean anything if you're not doing anything with it.
Sean, you literally just picked that stat. You picked that stat.
I read the whole stat line. How did I pick that stat? I read the whole stat line. I said 67% completion, 3,801 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. I asked, is that okay with you for that to be the best that he's going to do?
Also,
you're okay with that year after year?
I don't know their stats, but those quarterbacks you were asking me about the
kidding?
Playoffs, the quarterbacks you was asking me about, the ones I can name, the teams that they were on. The Titans, the Steelers, even though they got put out really quickly, the Titans were still doing what they need to do, and the 49ers.
I just want to say, for the record.
So 3 out of how many?
Mac Jones
4 out of how many teams?
Mac Jones had more passes.
We're not throwing Mac Jones in there.
Hold on now. Wait a minute.
We're not throwing Mac Jones in there?
Mac Jones had more passing yards than Kyler Murray, Big Ben, Tannehill, Trevor Lawrence, Wentz, Goff, Jalen Hurts, Russ, Teddy Bridgewater, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson.
Okay. That fantastic. You want so again, I just want this clear. The best, like again, so if I'm saying because you missed the whole argument I'm making here.
Yeah, the argument is you're a hater, Sean.
No, it's not.
I get no.
Hold on, James, hold on. Because now, because here's the thing. I'm not hating on Mac Jones. I'm saying the same thing that everybody else is saying. Is that this is the best you're going to get. So if you want 22 touchdowns and 13 interceptions, 3,800 yards and 67% completion as the best that you're going to get for the New England Patriots, fine. But you're not making the playoffs that way. That's not happening. Not when the rest of the division is getting better.
You're making the playoffs if Bill Belichick is your coach. That's it. You're probably not making it anywhere else. You're probably making it with Shanahan. And maybe make it with Vrabel.
And as Miami, you're making the playoffs with Tyreek and Waddle in your as wide receivers.
That's insane.
You literally
Lionel, you have made some of the worst takes I've seen on this.
No,
this is
you
horrible.
are a hater.
Your argument is I'm a hater, but I'm giving you numbers. I gave you that I'm a hater on Tua. I'm not a hater on Mac Jones.
Yeah,
I'm not. I'm not a hater on the Patriots.
Yeah, you are.
What is impressive? What top offense do they have? What top defense do they have?
Sean,
what top players do they have?
The Patriots have had a top 5 defense the past 10 years. Don't get it twisted.
So we got a top 5 defense. I'm so glad that the Cincinnati Bengals have one of the top defenses in a fucking league. Are we kidding me?
Look,
is this a joke?
This is not a joke, Sean.
No.
Oh my God.
It is not.
My God.
Like I said, Miami picked up Tyreek Hill for chump change. One of the best receivers in the league. Mm-hmm. And they got why are you smiling, smirking like that? You don't believe that Tyreek Hill is one of the best in the league?
I mean, that's a conversation for another day.
No, I asked you.
We ran this whole time, so
I asked you a question.
This is crazy,
Sean. I asked you a question.
Do I think Tyreek Hill is one of the best in the league? What do you define as best in the league?
Do you think he's a top receiver in the league?
Top 20, sure.
Top 20.
Top 15. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll give you top 15. Top 15.
That's the hill you're gonna die on, right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're gonna let that alone. Sean, start bench cut. Kendrick Lamar, Jay-Z, Kanye West.
Jay's, you gonna hate my answer. I'm just letting you know.
I think Jay he gonna hate my answer too.
You gonna hate my answer. I just want to let you know. I'm gonna justify myself afterwards. Start Kanye, bench Kendrick, cut Jay-Z. I don't know how well that came across. Let me.
Jay-Z just left. Oh wait, he's back. He's gone.
I said because I moved my microphone back. I didn't mean to. Start Kanye, bench Kendrick, cut Jay-Z. I have a reason why, but I'll let Lionel go first.
No. You know what? I'm gonna plead the fifth on this one because I don't want him to look at me like he just looked at you.
So let me give you my thinking. Okay. So when we're saying, maybe I don't know the context of what we're saying. Start, bench, cut, which is fine. Are we saying like best? Like what's the context here?
In your opinion.
My opinion. Okay.
Who do you want to listen to?
Perfect.
Who's number 2 and who's
perfect?
Cut?
Out of those 3 options, I will listen to Kanye and Kendrick more than Jay-Z. It's not personal, but that's just where my music lands. Like that's just what that is. I'm not saying
there was no wrong answer.
Huh?
There was no wrong answer.
No, there's no wrong answer. I'm not necessarily saying that Kendrick or Kanye are better than Jay-Z. That's a conversation for another day. But what I am saying is I would rather listen to Kanye and Kendrick. Like if I had a list of like things I'd listen to, like I'd probably listen to Kanye first, and then I'd put on some Kendrick, and then like maybe I'd put on some Jay-Z. Like that, just if I had that, like that 3.
I'm pleading the fifth.
He's got the same answer. He's just flipping Kanye and Kendrick.
I'm not. answering that question.
I'm telling you that's where he's at. But
No.
yeah.
No.
All right, Jay. So we're starting Jay-Z,
Here's
right?
my dog, y'all.
Now where are we moving from there?
Look at my dog, y'all. Say hi, Scrappy.
Kendrick is getting cut.
Okay. That's like,
Kendrick's getting cut. And
Did
the
you hear that,
reason why
Scrappy?
is
Kendrick's getting cut.
at this point, the reason why is because of the size of the catalog. I mean, in Jay was gonna start, period. That was just bound to happen. But Kanye from college dropout down to Yeezus. Kanye Kanye has this thing where over a 3 album period, there aren't too many artists, there aren't too many rappers who have a consistent 3 album period that is you can't argue it. And Kanye honestly is probably 4 in a row. When for Kendrick, people knew about Kendrick from Section 80. They knew it, but I don't think Kendrick really. I don't think that audience really grew like that until after To Pimp a Butterfly, and not went to Pimp a Butterfly, but a little bit after it, where it took them time to appreciate that album for what it is. Jay Z has, yo man, Reasonable Doubt is one of them classic albums, like something that people say a Led Zeppelin album is classic or a Hendrix project is classic. That's what Reasonable Doubt is, not just to hip hop, but to music. Biggie is on Reasonable Doubt. Lil Kim is on there. I think Foxy Brown is on there. That song that he had with Memphis Bleak was Memphis Bleak debut. He's on there. Like,
I'm getting ready to call J.E.'s an old head. Um,
yeah,
you working on it. All right. This
look,
show morning.
I'm
Okay.
I'm
it's
I'm gonna
because you
show you.
insulted Kendrick. I'm telling you. I told you he's
No,
got Kendrick first and then Kanye and then Jay-Z. That's what he's got. I'm done.
I'm gonna show you my age on that. I remember growing up in Cahaba Heights here in Uniontown, and I remember running outside one day and bumping into just the rest of the neighborhood kids, and I was like, "Yo, y'all heard this new joint? Who you with?" And they started rapping it, and I was like, "Nah, nah, nah, that ain't what I'm talking about." They was rapping Lil Jon, "Who you with?" I was talking about Jay Z, "Who you with?"
Sean,
That's what I was on.
pick up your mic, Sean.
That's what I was on.
Ladies and gentlemen, we officially have had our first old head guest on the podcast.
Yo, I'm telling you, man, that's what I was on. And when I said it, they had no idea who I was talking about. Not a clue.
However, he's not a whack ass old head like some of you other guys.
I agree. He an old head, but he ain't whack.
However, but yeah, this is
That's because it took me a while to appreciate it took me a while to appreciate the tree that is hip hop. Like a lot of us who wax poetically about the golden era of the 90s, we don't give room for trap music and that dance music period of Atlanta from what was it 2003 to about 2008. We don't even give some of us don't even give room for that Uncle Luke period, for that Miami bass period. So no, I'm not one of them guys. I had a period where I was, but nah, I'm not one of them guys, man.
But you are old head.
I take that.
That's a term of endearment. But
I take that.
don't make us add whack ass in front of that.
I take,
Okay.
I take that.
So Jay, we pretty much we grew up in the same area. That's when it comes to years listened in the hip hop, Sean is definitely the rookie in the group right here. So I'm gonna name some Southern classics. You're gonna name a couple Southern classics. We're gonna let Sean attempt to name some Southern classics, and then we're gonna get to your best year in your favorite year in hip hop and your unpopular opinion. Okay.
Gotcha.
I don't like where this is going.
So I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna give one, and then we're gonna alternate. Okay.
I'm watching you.
We're gonna do like 5 apiece.
What?
Me and JE is gonna do like 5 apiece.
Oh, I'm about to say, that ain't no 5 for me.
Okay.
I'll do what I can, but
Me and JE will do 2 apiece. We'll do 2 apiece. Okay. So Southern Classic number 1. Trial Time, Last Mr. Biggs. I started selling dope back in 1986.
Bought a Cadillac and put them things on that bitch.
The brains blowed out with the white
With
leather
the white
seats.
leather seats.
And feeling for that butter because that other
You
shit
know,
is
that
weak.
shit is weak.
I was only 17, had the neighborhood.
Neighborhood hook.
My favorite
Man,
line, had them still not their crib because my crack tastes like rib. What?
Yo, look, man. I thought about that line years later when I understood more shit. Like when I understood things, I was like, you know what? I'd never be the guy to do hard ass drugs. But you telling me that shit tastes like ribs? If I'm down bad, I'm like, all right, man.
I gotta see what's to that.
All right, man.
I
for
see what's going on with
research
this rib crack. I don't know what's
Right.
happening here. I don't know what's happening here, but all right.
Because at this point, nigga, you a scientist. Like I need to know what
Culinary
are you doing?
genius.
We
What
at the
are you
But Peep
doing?
podcast do not condone the use of hard drugs.
Stay away from drugs, kids.
100%. However, if some crack tastes like rib,
And you decide to try it, we understand.
I'm not gonna judge you necessarily, but we at the But Peep This podcast do not condone the use of drugs.
No way.
Okay, JE's, give me one.
I'm gonna go back, but it's definitely a Southern classic that if you heard it, you was like, all right, that shit, that's South there. I'm going Tila, show enough. Girls in the club showing love, shaking that. Look, hey, I ain't don't make me get into Tila like that, man. Because Ball and MJG is on there too. That one, if you got Ball and MJG on your joint, it is really close. If not directly there, it's really close to being a Southern classic.
I give you that one. See, I'm torn between 2. So, because I think 1 is just a classic, but I don't know if it's Southern or not. Young Jock is going down. I think that's just a classic. No, that's a Southern classic. That's a Southern classic.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a Southern classic. I was also going to say "Girl, Give Me That" by Boosie and Webby and Bun B.
Okay.
Okay.
I see you.
Give me one more. We're gonna move on to Sean because I've been waiting on this all day.
I'm gonna give you one that I feel like Sean should know, considering where he's from.
Okay.
And
That's
it's
not
a classic. It's a classic from a Southern legend that at this point he may even be a legend just period to hip hop. I'm going Break You Off Some, Master P.
I forgot about Master P. I should have said make him say but they're gonna spark out a whole.
Yeah, make him say okay. That's an even better one.
Please.
But Break You Off Some, break you
Lional,
off
not
some is
today,
what you
please. Let's just move
break
on,
you
man.
off something. Look, if you made a movie about Southern hip hop in the late 90s, that would be the first song you would hear when the movie started.
JE's, we gotta bring you back because I just thought of something.
Just not today, please.
I just thought we don't have enough time, but I just thought of something that's gonna start
no.
two whole hours of argument.
Okay.
You got to give me time for that one because I can't just walk in and say what I normally say.
We're gonna have to part 2 your JE's.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Give me 2, Sean. Come on.
All right.
I've been waiting on this.
All right. So, a little bit of background, right? I'm from Louisiana, but I grew up on country music. Now, if you wanted me to name you some classic country songs, I got you. However, right? I told, I'm not going to say it on the podcast, but I told them to yesterday when I started like really getting into hip hop. And it was a moment. It was a shocking moment. But we'll get into that another day. But I got a few, but I'm gonna pick two that I know for sure.
Name what you got.
Name what I got.
Name what you got.
So the first one I feel like is real easy, and that's Nuck If You Buck. I don't really think.
Okay. I give you that one.
Yeah, I feel like that one. That one's pretty. Whatever. The other one I got a song that shout out to Deontay. Shout out to my boyfriend Deontay. We played a song in the car fairly consistently. And that song is I Ain't Never Scared.
Hell yeah.
Is that a Southern classic though, or just a classic?
I would definitely
I'm
categorize that as Southern classic.
I'm going Southern classic on that too. Oh yeah.
Okay.
How many people you know outside the South that are really bumping? I told that motherfucker I ain't never scared.
Okay, I give you that one.
Because I'm outside of the club and you think I'm a punk.
Credit to Never Scared. T.I.'s verse that when people were still hesitant about who this T.I. guy is, best verse on that song. And he was like, I'm paying attention now.
Okay, you got two. Give me another.
But I go to my loaded Tech 9 and open the trunk because I told that motherfucker I ain't never scared. That is a great. I love it so much.
Like you can hear that in a conversation. You can hear him telling you that shit in the conversation. He's like, all right, look, that the fact that it was made into a song, yeah, I believe it.
So I got one that I know for sure I can pull out, but I'm actually gonna go for a wild card here. I'm gonna try just to shake it up a little bit. I'm gonna say "Shake Your Ass" by Mystical.
No.
That's more of a classic.
It's a classic.
More of a classic.
It's a classic, but not a Southern classic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Now
Mystical.
one. Mystical has a Southern classic though. So you're in the realm. That is. That's the Southern classic.
I didn't know if Mystical just fell into that scenario of
the way he told that story on Still Smoking, I felt like I was in the hotel room.
Yeah.
I felt like I was there.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you an A- on that. That was.
I mean, can I go with one that I know for sure is there?
Okay.
To try to make up see, when I teach my ELA class, I give my students the opportunity to make up their Achieve articles. So can I have an opportunity to make up I got a 75 on it. Can I get an 88 or 100?
If you miss it, you're going down a little grade.
Ooh, that's tough.
I'll take it.
Okay, go for it.
I'll take it. I'm gonna say Sipping on Syrup.
Sipping on Syrup actually exceeds the South a little bit because Sipping on Syrup became a part of just like knowing what that was that you did. The nation knew what Sipping on Scissor was, as opposed to just Texas, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, and Northern Florida. So it got out there.
So a Southern classic has to not be out there? Is that what we're saying here?
A Southern classic definitely has to mean more to the South than it means to everybody else. Because not everybody is going to understand Trial Time by Mr. Big. You have to be in the South to understand and appreciate that.
You really got to be in Alabama to appreciate that.
or UGK, Let Me See It. You got to be in the South to appreciate Let Me See It.
So I'm not going to dock you. but I'm not giving you any more
Because
points.
I have
it
a
was
problem with that mentality,
okay.
and I'm gonna try to plead my case by doing what I know how to do in philosophy, which is
You got 20 seconds.
bring up a similar situation. I edit the podcast. I take as long as I want. I
Highlight.
So if what you're saying is that a Southern classic has to mean more to the South than it does everywhere else,
Mhm.
then that means that the song has to really only be popular in the South.
No.
Explain.
Okay. So the song can be popular everywhere else, but it means more when it's played in the South. Because in other regions, there are hip hop fans who are touched, who know what's going on around the country. And they would hear it and it's like, yeah, I know this joint. This joint is cool. But most of the club or most of the event would be like, okay. But the South, when you play it, it's like, all right, get out of the way.
Everything stops. Everything stops.
Get out
So
of the way.
so basically what you're telling me is that a Southern classic has to be a Southern underground song that's very popular.
It don't have to be underground.
That's a good point because when you think underground, you don't think mainstream. You don't think mainstream record label. So they could be on a mainstream record label. For example, Ti 24s. If I'm not mistaken, by the trap music was an album that was on
Grand
a
Hustle.
big record label.
Yeah, I think Atlantic.
But if you play 24s in other regions, out west or east coast, it's not going to get the same reaction that would get down south.
So
Another one, like a pimp.
so let me bring up something like a separate scenario then. What would be a New York classic? Or an East Coast classic that isn't as popular, that means more to the East Coast than it does everywhere else.
What We Do by Freeway.
Perfect one. But another one that's super easy, Empire State of Mind, Jay-Z and Alicia Keys.
Wait,
We don't
okay.
give a fuck about that song in the South.
I love the song.
Damn.
I love the song. This was the first time I had a chance to perform in New York that year that it came out. So it's very special to me. But Empire State of Mind doesn't hit around the country the way it hits in New York. It's a
In the
great song.
5-3
It's a huge
PC.
song. No.
Not in the 5-3 PC.
And to this day, the South, a lot of the South don't feel for Jay-Z what the rest of the country feel for him.
In the South, they say concrete jungle, wet dream, tomato.
Empire State of Mind has 514 million plays on Spotify.
I do not doubt that at all.
And
But when it comes to the South, how many people in the South are gonna sing that chorus and feel what somebody from Brooklyn felt, or even somebody from Jersey felt, somebody from Philly felt?
listen, if the song was Kansas City State of Mind,
I tell you another good example of that. The joint. Why am I blanking on this classic song? With Tupac and Dre in it.
California Love.
California Love. It's a classic. Everybody love it, but I can guarantee you most of the people around the country who aren't from California, not just LA, but from who aren't from California or never been to LA, don't feel the same way LA feels about
Hey, I just want to say real quick, my wife knows that entire song. It's the cutest shit.
it. I mean, you can keep going with all them songs that's an anthem for the state.
I mean, I'm gonna be
Um,
honest. I completely disagree on the last two songs that we've said because those are legitimately two of the most mainstream songs that I'm aware of.
You're
And-
not wrong,
And
but they don't mean the same for the South.
They don't mean they hit in the South.
But I tell you what, you could take one from the South and take it up north. Welcome to Atlanta. Nobody gives a damn about that for real in New York or Cali.
Well, right, but most of the people who, because I've never heard that song before.
I
So
give you one
most
better,
of the
Sean.
people, but you mean to tell me that Empire State of Mind, like you were fine when you said like Freeway, like What We Do. I love that song personally. I get what you're saying there. But when you said Empire State of Mind, I mean that song transcended area. Like it's about New York. It
Yeah.
like it talks about New York, but I feel like that song has maybe a little because there's a. So you mean to tell me all
It's
I
a
gotta do to
classic.
make a song a classic is just to make a
It's a
good
classic.
song and then say the name of the place that's there?
It's a classic.
No,
It's a classic.
I'm not
It ain't a
saying
Southern
that.
classic.
I'm not saying that.
No
We
one's
got-
wait. No one said Empire State of Mind so classic. I
It
was
don't
saying
hit that side.
Look, I'm saying
get out this conversation. You ain't even
It does.
listening to
No,
nothing anybody
I'm
else
listening to
is
what
saying.
you're saying,
What
Sean.
are you talking about?
Sean, it could be one of the most mainstream
who
songs. It
said-
just gotta listen. Shut up.
You need to
In
clean your ears. This
in the
is
South,
say you gotta clean
it
your
doesn't
ears.
mean that much.
You ain't listening to nothing
Hey,
nobody's saying.
no,
That
no,
is
no.
crazy.
No, what he said is the song can be massive. It can mean a lot to a lot of people who's not from that area where those artists are from who made it. But for the South, and I promise you, you could poll people today, no matter how big Jay-Z is, a lot of people in the South don't give a fuck about that.
So
Like they
so
really
using
don't.
that same mentality, not saying I agree or disagree with you, but using that same mentality, why is Sipping on Syrup not a Southern classic?
because of the way because of what they call the drink and having that drink being added to the lexicon like bling bling, that's why it's no longer just a Southern classic. Once it gets out of the South and people add it to the way that they talk when they're using slang or AAVE.
If they say it's sipping on scissor
That's right.
in Phoenix, it ain't a Southern classic.
I think if you're walking around Phoenix and somebody walks up to you and says sipping on a scissor, you're gonna turn around and walk the other way. Because I don't
I
think
mean, now
that's a
now
normal
you
thing.
would.
Now
Now
yeah.
you would. Back then, you was like, "Oh, word, shit, who you got it from?"
So it's like
It's-
So
Like-
And
so a classic has to be immediate?
no, look, and it's not even saying the whole thing sipping on scissor. You say, "Oh man, what you drinking?" Shit, I got that scissor, man. What you talking about? What you trying to do? It's kind of like anything, any song that adds something to the way we talk, period, even if it's joking. Like that whole Izzle thing that Snoop was doing.
I was like,
that-
what?
That when he was putting Izzle on the end of everything. That
Izzle.
may have started as a West Coast thing, but once everybody else started adding it, it's no longer just a West Coast thing. It's a part of everybody else.
So
Right, which is fine, but
you know,
I don't
great
understand how
example.
we take that same mentality and apply it to Empire State of Mind and say that wouldn't be a New York classic. Because
No,
Empire State
it
of
is a New York
Mind
classic.
stretches further than New York at this point. I mean, it's damn near what I mean. I'm not gonna go that far, but like, I mean, Empire State of Mind was like everywhere.
It was
And based on the
everywhere.
mentality, like based on what you're saying, if it's everywhere, it's no longer reserved for New York.
No, it doesn't mean that it can't be everywhere. It just has to hit harder in that. It'll
Yeah,
hit harder
that's it.
in New York.
But it hit harder because of the fact that like they just say New York a few times.
I said like this.
That's
If
what
you
makes it a
are-
classic?
If you are in Denver,
To
and
an area?
If you're in Denver and Empire State of Mind comes on, I don't think people are passionately singing "I'm from New York." They may sing along with it because it's a great song. It's an amazing song. But if you're also in Denver and 24s come on, you say, "Oh shit, I remember 24s," and that's how it hits you. But if you're in Alabama, Tennessee, anywhere in Georgia, Texas, 24s come on, you going back to the moment you first heard 24s. because especially if you grew up in the South. Only if you grew up in the South.
I'll give you another example. Lil Boosie Set It Off.
Oh hell yeah. I don't even know if the rest of the country know about Boosie Set It Off or
No,
Wipe Me Down.
I think everything Boosie has transcended. And I could tell you because I've been to multiple different places and I've been to multiple different parties and I've heard Wipe Me Down, Set It Off, all those different things, like multiple different places, and seen the same type of I mean, don't get me wrong, New Orleans gets it the most, but I think that's more because Boosie's from there.
Right.
So you've gone to, I don't know, Kansas City and played Set It Off and got the same, like.
I have no doubt that if I
all of
played
these-
Set It Off in Kansas City, that I'd get a pretty strong reaction.
I believe in Kansas City, but I believe once you start to get past, I don't know,
Kansas City.
Pennsylvania, once you start to get up like Pennsylvania, something like who?
Either the New
What we
Yorkers
talking-
aren't, listen, I could go on for this for a while. I don't agree. I'm not mad at the fact that we're saying like these things, but I feel like the mentality that we're using to say something to Southern Classic is kind of just coming down to a checklist of say the area you're from, say some stuff about the area, and then make a decent song. And
How
I feel
many
like that's
songs-
where we're getting a Southern Classic.
How many songs did we name that said they were from the South?
But we're using that mentality to
No,
be
we're
able to
not.
justify. Because I asked, I said, can we use this mentality over here? And y'all are like, yeah. And then what you're giving me for like up here, like this is like you gave me California Love. California Love, the main reason why people enjoy it as much as they do if they're from the West Coast, because they name a bunch of neighborhoods. Like the reason why Empire State of Mind is loved as much as it is in New York is that they just Alicia Keys screams at the top of a damn lungs in New York.
Okay, you
But
picked
both of
two
those songs have transcended past their areas.
Right. But even though they transcend past those areas, are you willing to tell me that in New Mexico, they're singing I'm from New York as passionately as Homeboy from the Bronx?
But you use that mentality to tell me that I was wrong, which is why I'm confused.
Somewhere in this circle, I think
think
I don't
you-
know where we've
I
know.
really don't.
All
I
right,
don't
so-
know
so-
where you are right now.
So okay, let's start back with the Southern Classic. I want to start there, and then we get back to New York State of Mind.
Okay.
So we're starting with the Southern Classic.
Right.
What we feel makes the Southern Classic a classic is it doesn't necessarily have to be on an underground record label. It can be a mainstream label, but this song means far more to the South, not just the state that it was in, not even mentioning the state or the cities in that state. It means far more to the South than what it means to any other region. And that goes for any
Okay.
regions with their classic. That any of them. When the song is no longer just a Southern classic, is whatever happens in the song becomes something that's accepted by the rest of the nation, if not the whole world. I.e., bling bling. Bat that ass up. Just recently, bat that ass up, goddamn. The reason why I say just recently is because they repurposed the song to do something for vaccines. Outside of that, unless you had a bunch of people from the South, like just branching out to other parts of the country and bringing back that ass up with them, bat that ass up didn't mean as much to the rest of the country as it did to the South. So that's on the Southern Classic. But remember, in order for these regions to have these classics, those are how we define them. Every one of these regions have their classics like that. And for New York State of Mind, it's not just that it's a song about New York or about the boroughs of New York City. I understand the song is massive because we're talking about two very massive artists. But I'm not singing New York State of Mind with that passion in Texas somewhere.
Or in Alabama. It just don't hit. It don't hit the
And I
same.
love the song.
Could
I
that
love the song.
that just be because you're just not as big on the because there's just that
Go on, holla at me.
hold on.
You still
right.
look like Rob Dyrdek.
That's fine. We're gonna come back to that conversation. But we gonna move on. Jay, what's your favorite year in hip hop?
This was easy, actually. 2004.
Oh,
And
04. Interesting.
the reason why it's 2004, what we got in 2004 is we got we still had Trap or Die mixtape with Jeezy and Drummer. We had Urban Legends by T.I. We had what we thought at the time was going to be Jay last album in the Black album, and that was major. That was really major. We got what else did we have in '04? What was it? It was right there. A really good Roots album. The Tipping Point was a good one. I like that Nas album that came out that year, if I'm not mistaken. It is Streets Disciple. College Dropout is in 2004. So what you're
Set
getting in
was really
2004
popular
for
too.
me, what you're getting in 2004 for me is a bunch of really good imaginative joints and stuff with people like Ye, but you're also getting trap. You getting like hardcore shit. Ghostface had my favorite Ghostface album, actually, the Pretty Tony album, was in 2004. 2004 is easily my favorite year in hip hop. Easily.
So he an old head, but he a wise old head.
Kind of, because I would like to point something out. Out of the four people who have answered this question, I think we're going to continue to answer this question. Nobody has said anything in the 90s and 80s yet.
It is what it is, Sean. I mean, listen. Shout out to all the pioneers, but Run DMC ain't beating College Dropout in nothing.
No.
They're not
They are
beating
not.
Urban Legend in nothing.
No.
If DMC had said, if you're having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son, then maybe we'd have a conversation to have. But they didn't. They said it's tricky.
Yeah.
It's tricky, tricky, tricky.
And look, don't get me wrong. Some of my favorite MCs are there. Rakim, Kane, KRS-One, like though they're there and they're appreciated there. But the reason why the year that I spoke of um, hit me so hard is because I was about to finish high school around that time, and we seeing music changing. We seeing it being. I don't want to say it was being more accepting because there were a lot of the hip hop artists that was still riding the wave of the late '90s who didn't like Kanye coming around. They didn't like. Then you had those artists. I remember there was about to be a battle, well, beef between Jeezy and Nas at one point because Jeezy didn't like that, and this was a few years later. Jeezy didn't like that Nas had that album "Hip Hop Is Dead," and he was talking real reckless about it. And he was getting ready to make songs at Nas until I think they had a conversation like on the phone, and he was like, "Look, I understand what he was saying. It wasn't a shot at me, et cetera, et cetera." But we seen a shift, one of the many shifts in hip hop start to happen right there around 2004. It was the rise of the mixtapes. DJ Drummer was running shit. So
And like
it
I
was
said, Run DMC said it's tricky, tricky, tricky. And LL Cool J said, when I'm alone in my room, sometimes I stare at the
yeah.
wall, and in the back of my mind, I hear my conscience call.
Hey, real quick before somebody else get an answer, what you just said, a lot of look. I don't know if y'all seen this yet, but there's a guy who made a song to that beat with that concept, with that rhyme scheme, and it's about him eating ass.
You
It's
got to
Lionel's theme song right there.
Yo, this song and video
That's
is
not true.
amazing.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. No, 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 no. That's not true.
It's not. That's the funny part.
Anyway, before we let you get out of here, J's, we need them unpopular opinions, and we're gonna be quiet, and this is on you.
Unpopular opinion. Um, Around the early 2000s, Jay Z was on a winning streak. It was, and when an artist like Jay Z is on a winning streak, it bothers people because he's gonna let you know that he's on a winning streak. And no matter what you say or do in that time during that winning streak, you just can't do anything better than him because not just because he's that skilled, but because it's New York City, it's Brooklyn, it's New York City, and Rockefeller was with Def Jam, the most legendary hip hop label out. So when tensions reached its highest point around that time, Mobb Deep got embarrassed, a few other people got embarrassed, and one Nazir Jones got embarrassed. Takeover is far and above, ahead, beyond, out of this world, better than Ether. Not even a conversation. The only reason why Ether is considered better or even a match to take over is because of the same reason people in the 90s maybe didn't like Jordan and the Bulls, or people in the 80s didn't like the Celtics or the Lakers. After a while, people get exhausted with winning streaks. And when somebody come along, formidable or not, and Nas was formidable, if they do even a little bit, it's like, yes, that's my guy. That's my champion. That's the only reason why Ether is considered on the level with Takeover. Not that Nas couldn't do great, because he's done way better than Ether. But Ether versus Takeover, if we're just breaking down how the bars were factual against somebody just, I don't know, playing the Joneses or whatever, like they're just joking around with silly jokes that you would hear on the playground. No. Takeover is far and away better. And Super Ugly was disrespectful, but it was also better.
You're gonna have a lot of explaining to do in part two, but continue.
Super Ugly didn't need to happen. Again, it was very disrespectful, but it was also better than Ether.
Okay, that's
Only
one.
reason why that's unpopular, only reason why that opinion is unpopular is because of what I said. Jay-Z had a winning streak. People was happy to see somebody go. People was happy to see somebody who thought they had arms long enough to box with God. That's it.
That's one. That's one hell of a one.
I mean, that's more like 3 in there, to be honest with you.
That's
Because
it.
the first one is that
Jay-Z was on a winning streak.
well, I'm not gonna say that one. That you can have that one. You can have 4. So the first one is that Ether is better than I mean that Takeover is better than Ether.
Way better.
Number 2 is the fact that the reason why people think Ether is better than Takeover is because Jay-Z was on a winning streak. And number 3, that's Super Ugly.
Disrespectful.
It's
But better.
disrespectful, but better than Ether.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Super Ugly. Super Ugly was more disrespectful.
Those are 3 good ones.
Super Ugly was more disrespectful than Ether. Super Ugly was so disrespectful. Gloria Carter, the magnificent mother of one Jay-Z, called and made him apologize for that. It was that disrespectful. It Super Ugly shouldn't have happened. It was that disrespectful, but it was better.
Give me one more. I'm setting you up for your part too. That's what I'm doing.
One more in my top 10 rap, top 10 MCs, not even rappers, top 10 MCs. Jeezy is in that top 10.
Last
Jeezy
time
is
I
in that top
checked,
10.
I was the man on these streets.
Man,
Jeezy is in that top 10.
I'm not
The
gonna lie
way-
to you.
I kind of agree with that one.
I might have to put that. I got to do a little bit more of a deep dive on Jeezy before I sit there and say for sure.
Yeah.
But
He's
you
in that top
know,
10.
I don't think it's out of the question.
Yeah. I when I was first hit with the fact that that was unpopular, I was trying to realize why it was and who else you were gonna stick in that top 10. And I couldn't get a legitimate answer. If he's number 10 in that top 10. Is no,
I'm cool with it.
he's there. He's there.
So this is the part of the show, JE's, where let me just say it's yours. You got anything you want to say to the people? You know, this is your slot right here.
Okay. Like I mentioned at the top, the name that I'm going by now, and I'm not a stickler by it. Some people say J, some people say E, some people put them together, whichever. I get that. But the JE's part at this moment is I'm finally back in music. It took a while to get here because for too long I ignored some mental issues that I had and just a lot of past stuff that came up, like the whole period in my life where I was a legitimate sex worker, where I was an actual escort, and I ignored a lot of that shit until it came back little by little. Because I think as human beings, sometimes there's a lot of stuff that happens to us that we immediately push to the back of our minds. And the longer it sit back there, the bigger it grow, and that snowball just roll downhill, and now you got to deal with it. Um, so at that, considering who I was and pretty much an outcast before I started rapping and expressing myself, and then that rapping part of me was braggadocious and arrogant. And once the music fell down, I had to deal with that side that I was before the rap started. So now to focus on the mental health and everything and how I went to therapy and all of that, to have both of those sides of me exist as one now is is only right that I wear the glasses that I wear now and that I go by the JEs, because at this point the music that I plan on putting out, the visuals that I plan on putting out, photo shoots and all of that is going to be more of an experience as opposed to just music that you get to listen to. Um, you'll get a chance to hear that relatively soon. I have a studio date that's coming up actually at the end of next month. It's going to be 10 consecutive hours. I'm going in, I'm locking down, and as much as we can get out is going to come out. As a matter of fact, somebody from Marion is going to be on a joint called Strangeland. She's a poet, and I've heard what she's working on. Man, that song is really gonna be is gonna be something really special. It's
So
gonna be
when
something
this album drop, can we get the exclusive?
yo, is gonna be the conversation before anything is released. While everything is being released. However, we can start here first. We can start here first.
That's a bet.
That's dope.
It'll be my privilege to start here with it.
Bro, that's
And
dope.
I'll let y'all hear what I'm working on before it gets out to everybody else. Because I'd love a sounding board from that. So yeah, at this point going forward, that's all I'm gonna be about. Well, not just singular focus, but that's what I'm mostly gonna be about. It's just the music, the visuals, and trying to show everybody that we're all a reflection of each other.
I like it.
I do love
So
it.
so JE's, you gonna be back for your part two, your part three when you're promoting that album.
Word.
And you can also be back on the mental health podcast because we're having one of those.
For sure.
Boy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love talking about.
yeah.
the
So
stories that I can pull out about my time in that mental hospital. Yeah. So
I, guys, you gotta stay tuned to the But Peep This podcast, man. You like JEs don't just jump on anybody podcast. Honestly, like when I hit JEs up, I was fully expecting him to say, "I'm good, homie." But the fact that he like that was like me and Sean, we got a guest list, who we want to deal with, who we don't want to deal with. JEs was at the top of that list.
100%.
And like I said, man. Oh, by the way, JEs, we got to talk about that fantasy squad. Like, I'm glad
Yo,
you
man.
I'm glad you got this third eye open because we got to work on that.
I'm gonna need it. It's been a bad couple years. Look, it's been really bad, and it's gotten worse.
We're gonna work on that. But man, we appreciate you coming on the show. It was an absolute privilege.
100%.
Shout out JE, shout out to Keisha, and the family. Tell them we said hello.
Yeah, 100%.
Next week, y'all, Sean gonna have to eat a bunch of words. Okay.
I don't know about that.
Because we got
I'm gonna come in with the boxing gloves on. I'm gonna put it to you that way.
Jay, do you know who we got next week? We got Stephen M. Smith next week.
Fireworks.
It's on. I can't wait. Steve, if you listening, Steve, listen.
I'm so excited.
Sean been talking shit for 10 years.
Fireworks.
10 years.
That one is gonna be one to see.
Listen, get
Steve
your popcorn ready.
We have sat down one time and had a conversation about Alabama.
I'm turning my mic upside down. Get your popcorn ready.
Ow.
Yeah.
But
my cat is trying to kill me. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
What?
I don't know. I didn't do anything.
On that note, thank you, Jay. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate the support. I'm Lionel. That's Sean. That's J.E.
And that was Chunky.
And that was Chunky. This is But Peep This, the podcast.
Have a good night.